everybody. Welcome back. I have some Christmas movies here. Unlike Spooky Movie Month, where I exclusively watch spooky movies throughout October, December isn't really a Christmas movie month. Clearly I've watched a few, and I'll watch a few more, but just not the biggest fan. I guess there's not like 30 plus Christmas movies that I look forward to watching annually, or there's an endless supply of spooky movies. There's certainly quite a few Christmas movies I enjoy. There's some this year I won't be watching. I watched them last year, like Home Alone or Die Hard or something. So these ones I haven't watched for at least a year. So they got some play this month. There's a few more I'm looking forward to, like Eyes Wide Shut recently got a 4K release, and I plan on watching that, and I'm sure there's a few others I'm not thinking of at the moment. But anyways, we have these three here. So we have Batman Returns. So Batman is back. He has returned. We have Krampus, the Naughty Cut. Not sure what the differences are really, but this is the Naughty Cut here. And then we have Christmas Vacation, so National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. So let's start with Batman Returns here. I don't dislike this art necessarily, but I would have preferred the theatrical art, of course. I feel the Batman Returns... what's the next one? Has Jim Carrey in it. Forever, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin, they all kind of have the stark white background, floating portraits here for the characters, if their respective color schemes being blue, purple, green, and red. So, anyways, either way, really would prefer theatrical art, but what are you gonna do? I remember seeing this in the theater. I did not see Batman in the theater, but I did see this one, and I was pretty young, and I was reading Batman comics, but just more like what was on the shelf. So I really wasn't in tune with all the Batman's rules so much. It was really the animated series, which I think was the early 90s, right? Something like that, where I got into Batman. Like, I'm a big Batman fan. And of course the Tim Burton movies preceded that. And so this movie, going back and watching it, I kind of gone through a couple of phases. Like when I first saw the movie, like I didn't really mind that Batman was dropping, a grenade down someone's pants and kicking him down a flight of stairs. And then when I got into Batman, I was like, Batman never do those things, and who am I talking to? And then now when I go back and watch, I'm back to getting a kick out of it. Like I just think it's really funny, like very, very sadistic Batman. And I genuinely like this movie. I think I prefer it over Batman, and mainly due to the villains. Danny DeVito's Penguin is just so grotesque and over the top that I really don't know how you couldn't enjoy the performance. And Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman is like one of those movies when you're a young boy, you're finding great interest in her Catwoman, and you may not be entirely sure why at the time. So going back and rewatching it, she's just like an incredibly sexy Catwoman. And the scene with the hell here, the neon, is just awesome. So This transfer, though, is kind of funky. I feel there's like an odd teal hue to certain portions of the movie, and it's pretty more noticeable with like flames and of course snow. But I wouldn't say don't see the movie because of it. It's still the best the movie's looked on for a physical release anyways. It doesn't have the original audio, I don't think, either. It just has the Atmos, I'm pretty sure. So that's kind of a disappointment. So I wouldn't mind. I'd pick this up again if it received a re-release and maybe a different grade or something. And maybe that was the original attempt. I don't really remember the colors looking that way. And of course, the original audio would be cool too. So put this over here for now. Let's take a look at Krampus. So I think this has reversible artwork. Let's take a look. Yes, indeed it does. How about that? Maybe I flipped it already. Maybe did it come like that? I don't know. I really don't remember. I prefer this one though. Yeah, I prefer this one. I must have flipped it. This may have been what it looked like when I bought it. Hard to remember such things, not terribly important. So we'll go ahead and put this back in. And this is by the same person who did Trick or Treat. And I really like Trick or Treat. Not that I'm, sadistic like Batman, but any movie that harms children in, amusing ways. I don't know, it's an odd thing to say without someone side-eyeing you. If it's a horror film, I'm usually on board with it. And so I was surprised with some of the things that Trick or Treat did, in a good way. Kind of like the movie Mimic. I don't know if anyone's seen Mimic, but that's another movie where I was just a little surprised about the fate of some of the characters. It just normally wouldn't expect it to happen. And a little bit of a nerve is lost here, though. I do enjoy this movie. I think this would have been the second time maybe the third time I watched it. I saw it when it came out, and I was disappointed when it came out. I was expecting something a bit meaner, perhaps. And then the second time I watched it, I was more on board with what they're going for. It almost feels more like I'm trying to find the tone Gremlins had, a little scary for, the younger crowd, and over the top at times, which really doesn't happen to about a little bit over an hour into this movie. And looking at it, I feel it's good. I mean, I can't say it isn't. It's just every time I watch it, I just want it to be a little bit more similar to something like, if you watch this and you watch, say, Drag Me to Hell, like that's a PG-13 horror movie, and it just has a tremendous amount of energy. It's really gross at times, squeamish in a way, and that's what I feel like this is lacking and would really make it a classic for me. But I like it well enough where if someone wanted to watch it again next year, but yeah, absolutely, go ahead, pop in Krampus, no big deal. I like a lot of the creatures, the designs, the practicality of the creatures themselves, and whether or not the family deserves what happens to them. I suppose that's up for debate. That's another thing. Like, it's almost like actually a good transition to the Griswolds here. Like, the Griswolds, if they could somehow like combine, the Krampus could show up for their Christmas or something. Not that the Griswolds would deserve a Krampus fate or anything like that, but it kind of feels more appropriate. Like in this movie, I'm trying to think, like the parents are having a rocky relationship, but it seems like they're trying to work it out, and they're saying there's sisters in this that again, it just, being siblings, they aren't at each other's throats or anything like that, so you kind of expected the family to be a little more vicious in this, but they're not. It would almost be like, hey, if Krampus shows up, the house that makes the most sense to me would be like the McAllister house. Like, Kevin's a little bit of a jerk, but the family was pretty mean. The family, they could be in Krampus too. I'm a little surprised there isn't a Krampus too. Actually, it feels like it's something where they could just have Krampus visit, families annually and wreak havoc on them, but it didn't happen. So, anyways, is this early '90s? This seems right to me. There's probably a date on here somewhere. I just can't see it. I don't know. Late 80s? 89, okay. So, prior to reading this, I would have guessed like 91, 92, but 89, sure. And there is a vacation movie, Vegas Vacation. I haven't actually seen that one. This kind of stops. It's kind of like a trilogy for me. So you have National Lampoon's Vacation, European Vacation, and this one. As a kid, though, this one certainly got the most play, mainly due to the fact that it's the most kid-friendly. It's the humor in it's very slapstick. There's a lot of physical comedy in this, things that as a kid, even as an adult, are it's kind of like the football to the groin type thing. America's Funniest Home Videos. I mean, people slipping, getting hit with things. Pretty timeless comedy, I suppose. While the other movies, again, I can't really speak for Vegas, but there's definitely a darkness to the humor. Like the family cat, I suppose, in this does have a pretty, I guess you could argue, a dark death. Spoiler, the cat dies, but it's so outrageous that it's not like Vacation, the first one, which is a dark moment. So in that sense, definitely more for kids. There's like, regardless of how provocative her Christmas outfit is, Beverly D'Angelo, not as like provocative as a shower scene from like the original, things like that. There's also a woman in red in this, but she's no Christy Brinkley, but she's close, I guess. But yeah, this movie, it does have Julia Louis-Dreyfus, maybe one of her earlier roles, because Seinfeld came out in '89, right? So around the same time. She and her partner, or neighbors, really don't deserve anything that happens to them. They're kind of snooty, I guess, but I guess that's good enough for the pain that Chevy Chase inflicts on them. And Randy Quaid is quite the character in this. He went off the deep end years ago. I have no clue what he's up to now. And I forget his name. I should know it. I feel bad calling him this because he's had his own career, but Bill Murray's brother is in this as well. And a few years before, like Groundhog Day, but he plays the role of, CEO Snake quite well in this. The children change again. That seems to be something that happens pretty frequently in these movies. But yeah, I do like this movie. Again, pretty straightforward with its comedy. And another movie that this time next year, if someone want to pop it in, it'd be fun to say, sure, okay, again, I try not to watch the same ones every year. But I've seen this movie so many times that it doesn't really get old. Don't know how a first-time viewer would feel about it so much, but I imagine there's some humor in that I find enjoyable. So, anyways, we'll see what's up next. Thanks for watching.